Shalom Yasharallah, this is your brother Dawada, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rakakudash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders of great millstone that taught us this truth and our rule well. And salutation and much love for you, Akim, pushing this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So I want to jump into this lesson real quick, which was inspired by, having a couple conversations with somebody and then, going into some of the scriptures about these things and, kind of breaking some of these things down, which I, felt like, how do I say, just doing a lesson on it, so, more ears can hear this. But, as far as our people, they have to understand that we're under these curses. All right. They'll ask, why are things like this and why are things like that? Sometimes we think that, that we can escape some of these curses. And, part of this conversation started out with, speaking about Kanye and using him as an example. And, hey, again, with this here one topic alone, and there's so much edification that can come up off of this, especially for somebody that's coming to this truth newly. All right. Explaining how the curses fall upon us, and, the conversation kind of started about with, with him and everything else like that. And, I was bringing out the point about, let me see if I can find the precept real quick. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Slack here. Give me all right, here we go. Deuteronomy 28 and verse 45. It says, moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee and pursue thee and overtake thee till thou beest destroyed. Because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of Yahweh thy power to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee. All right. And so it says, let me read the next verse. It says, and they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder upon thy seed forever. So the point, that I was making in the conversation was, moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee and pursue thee and overtake thee till thou beest destroyed. Now, in explaining this, I used, Kanye as a prime example. I said, let's just compare, somebody of my stature, just your regular everyday Jake, what I'm saying, versus somebody like Kanye, because a lot of our people think that, if only I could just move out the hood, I wouldn't have to worry about these problems. Or if only I could make enough money, I wouldn't have to have these problems. If only I was rich, I wouldn't have these problems. If only I could have my own business or something, I wouldn't have these problems. Or, and one of the examples I was using was, if I don't marry a so-called black woman or Israelite woman, I wouldn't have these problems. Well, I was like, well, let's look at with Kanye. It's like, well, he make way more money than I make, so that's the first check, if I was rich or if I was, made more money than this. If I just didn't have this simple job, I had to go answer to Esau and do my own little thing. Maybe I could, so-called, our people don't understand they're trying to escape the curses, but nevertheless, they have this mentality. Oh, if I can just go get my own business, or if I could do my own thing, or, if I didn't have to answer to Esau, I'd be all right. Well, in a sense, even though Kanye still was working with these Edomites and everything else like that, he does have enough money for him to start his own business in a sense, even though he has his own businesses, but I'm saying his own, business, like for a regular person, you don't have to have hundreds of millions of dollars to start you something that's simple enough to just pay your regular bills. Now, granted, Kanye's bills are on a whole higher level, but, he has enough money he could, how some Jake, like if I can get my own food truck started or something, I'd be all right. My own restaurant. He got enough money to do all those things. But hey, guess what? Having all that money, he's still under these curses, if he could just move up out the hood and everything else like that, he wouldn't have to have these problems. Well, now he got different types of problems. Always got Jake peeping me in the hood and watching my every moves, what I'm doing. Well, now he done moved out into what they call Hidden Hills or something like that, wherever he live at in California. Then you got all the paparazzis rolling up on him and everything else like that, man. All right, maybe if I didn't have this here hoopty or this little raggedy ass car, that the police wouldn't be pulling me over all the time. Well, now you driving a Lamborghini and stuff as a so-called black man, and they gonna still pull you over, and how much even more now, man. So even though or even or if I don't marry a so-called black woman, I wouldn't have these problems. She wouldn't be trying to take my kids away from me and use them against me and make me look all stupid and emasculate me in front of the people and everything else like that. Well, hey, you married, old girl, all right, and like the scriptures say, it's in In fact, because I think it's the same verse I wanted to get to anyway. Um, but we'll just touch on that real fast as far as maybe it's up a little bit more. Mm, Probably should have wrote these down, but we're gonna go in here. All right, verse 30. It says, um, well, we can read it in both, but I want to read a little bit more into this. But we're gonna just get to this point. It says, verse 30: "Thou shalt betroth the wife, and another man shall lie with her." All right, and we'll just stop there because, like I said, I want to go further into this verse. But it says, "You will be engaged into a woman, but another man will sleep with her." Right, and we know about the history of, homeboy's wife, how everybody else that was engaged to her, married to her, sleeping with her, all these different things, and everybody know about these things, and not just that. Even though he was married unto this here woman, all right, look, what is the modern day, how modern day life is going nowadays? Because back in the olden days, that the only time you would uncover a woman's secret parts is if you was actually laying with her. But nowadays, you got this here woman that get on the internet, show her whole body all over the internet, break the internet just by showing nudes on the internet. So everybody done seen all these things, man. So it's like everybody done lay with this here woman, man. All right. So, hey, just because, going back up, to all these curses was going to pursue you to not be overtaken, basically, yeah, I forgot where it was said. Oh, right here, verse 45. "Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee and shall pursue thee and overtake thee till thou beest destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of Yahweh thy power to keep his commandments and statutes which he commanded thee." So again, going to our people, no matter where you try to go, how you try to, you have these thoughts in your mind. If only I could do this. If only I could do that. If only I can get past this. You think that you can circumvent having these curses fall upon you, but that's not so, man. And from the highest level of us to the lowest level of us in this here society, man, we're all under these same curses, man. All right. And, sometimes you think that just because I'm higher up on the so-called totem pole, I will have less of the burden of the curses on me. But no, sometimes, hey, that weight is that much more heavier, man. All right. It's somebody of my stature in this here place, my old lady sleeping around. I mean, you do have social media where people could blast your stuff out there, but, not too many people will know about those things. But look, hey, after homeboy, him and his wife was getting a divorce, hey, the whole world knew about her next little boyfriend and how they was doing all kind of different things and stuff like that. So, hey, those things was intensified on him, man. All right, but these are the things that our people don't quite understand, man. All right, we're under these curses. Now I'm gonna go back to this verse. What was it, 30? I believe it was. All right, because there was something else in here that I wanted to get. All right, and going as far as showing the signs of these curses that's on our people, man, and how we can't escape these things. And when the further and further you go into these things, and they word certain things a certain type of way in here, but when you bring it up to date, right, you bring it up into modern day time, man. Hey, this is what's an identifying point unto our people, man. All right, there's a lot of this stuff that's going on. I still didn't watch the little documentary, but the thing that Kanye was speaking about and Kyrie was speaking about and everything else like that, man. Hey, like I said, if our people would only know the scriptures, man, if they would only go into these scriptures, regardless of what these people are saying, they could say this is this and they could say it's that. But when you know about these things and you try to, that's why the scriptures go in, instead of just flat out telling you, oh, these people are these people, so on and so forth like that, they go forth and give you a description of these people, man. All right, so that you can't get around these. You can change their names all day long. Like, for instance, America isn't named America in the Bible, but they give you like all the fine details of America so you would know what it is. All right, it's just like saying, hey, we got this vehicle, 707 horsepower supercharged or 800 horsepower supercharged, two-door coupe or a four-door, you know what I'm saying? Or this little SUV with, like, oh, that sounds like a Trackhawk or a Hellcat or something you talking about, bro. That, we know what them specs sound like and everything else. We know just by the description, we know you ain't talking about no, whatever. This is what the hell this is, man. All right. So, hey, this is how, a major identifying point of our people, man. All right, going into these scriptures, obviously going to the scriptures, but going into these curses and things like that indefinite, because this only falls upon our people. And the more you go into it, the more it, how do I say, it becomes evident. All right, so let's go back to verse 30. It says, let me see. Do I want to read? Let me just read this in the NLT, because like I said, some of these things, you go into these things and you break it down to, like I say, modern days times, and you'll see even more. All right. So verse 30, it says, "You will be engaged into a woman, but another man will sleep with her," in which we see that happen all day long, man. All right, hey, we're not even gonna get onto that. I was just using that as pointing out the comparison with the Kanye situation. But hey, we all know about this nowadays, man. You be lucky, you be a rarity if this ain't your woman nowadays, man. If you first of all, if you got a woman, you be lucky if your woman ain't sleeping around, if she ain't doing this and doing that. They think that nowadays that like, hey man, you have women that'll tell you that you ain't into women if you ain't sleeping with a woman that's got a man already. But this is the mindset of these people, but not getting into these women right now. But it says, you will build a house and someone else will live in it. You will plant a vineyard and you will not enjoy the fruits. You will not enjoy its fruits. So now, again, bring that into modern day time. All right, now, granted, in the lowest level, you do have, Jake that's out here, especially like I see a lot of the times, Issachar out here building these homes, man. Big ass nice homes that it ain't gonna never live in no home nowhere near that size, man. All right, the Issachar be out here building these big ass homes and subdivisions in areas where they don't even live it, man. And they got to go back to their little, you know, 2 or 3, 4 bedroom house with a couple different heads up in that bad boy, man, stuffed up in that bad boy. All right, and it's just a bunch of dirt out in the yard and everything else like that. But getting still, they building houses with big ass yards and lake views and everything else like that, man. But hey, they don't get to live in those types of homes, man. And in fact, they have it gated communities so that they don't have Issachar all up in their neighborhoods rolling through. No, we want to be secluded. We don't want just any and everybody up in our neighborhoods. We got to build a wall so these people can't come up in there. But these are the same people that's building the wall, putting up your fences, building the homes itself, man. But they never get to live in these homes, man. How much more, when you bring it to another level of also the vineyards and stuff like that, working in these packing houses and stuff, and don't get to eat the benefits of those things, man. So now going into that a little deeper, man, think about this, man. Think about all of our people that build up, you got, like I said, the Kyrie Irving situation, right? Now, Jake make up predominantly all of the NBA, the NFL, you know what I'm saying, and a lot of this sports and entertainment, baseball, you got the Northern Kingdom that inhabit that as well, too. A lot of this fighting and stuff like that, whether it's boxing, UFC, and things like that. Jake is inhabiting all of these things, man, and selling out tickets for all these things, man. But at the end of the day, they just getting paid peanuts on top of all these things, man. Look at these rappers and things like that, man. And what is the biggest argument that these rappers have, man? You can see them hey, man, you be lost and bugged out if you're still trying to get your little rap career and everything. You don't understand how that shit work, man. All right, there's a business behind all of that, man. And if you don't understand that, you get your record deal and everything else like that, you get your signing bonus and whatever they sign you for is pretty much a loan. So the more money they sign you for, the harder, the more debt that you in. They basically giving you $100 million loan, knowing good and damn well you'll never be able to reap back $100 million. So you and forever in captivity unto these people. But the point I wanted to make with that is the majority of these artists and these rappers, these artists and these rappers, they are upset at the fact that they don't own their masters. They don't own their names, going into this Kanye situation, just like Prince changing his name because, they start out by, especially like rappers like Kanye West who use their actual name, all right, as, their, how do I call it? Their stage name, more or less to say, man. All right, because, for instance, you got, I don't know, too many people know who this. Well, you probably do know this person now, but he was in a part of a group called Goody Mob. All right, CeeLo Green, right? CeeLo Green went under that name, CeeLo Green, to being in the group Gnarls Barkley. All right, and I believe he even went by another name at another time as well too. But you'll wonder why some of these artists, they'll change their names up and everything else like that because hey, they sign on a contract, a certain name, and then if they release anything under that name, and even in these contracts nowadays, they're like, well, any other name they may go by. So these people are, their whole name is owned by somebody else. You have your girl Hannah Montana did this, or what's her name, Miley Cyrus. She did this, right? And she actually got them back. You wonder why this girl got all bugged out and started being a super thought on TV. She was owned under Disney, all right, from this character on there, all right, that was loosely by her, about her and everything, and they had a different name, and then in the show she played a rock star type thing. And then the kids was buying into that. And then they actually put her on stage and actually put her on tour. And then she made so much money off of just the music career, some fake music career that was a role being played inside of a movie and everything, or a TV show like that. But nevertheless, she found out she didn't own her own name. So it was just like, well, no, you got a contract to be on Hannah Montana. Let's just say it's worth $15,000, right? But in that show, you play a role as a rock star and everything else like that. But now we're going to extend this to bring it out into, you performing and things like that. You don't get no extra money for none of that because you didn't really sign no real record deal. You still pretty much performing over here. We own the name Hannah Montana. We own all these different things. So all the merchandise. Your name is Miley Cyrus. All the Hannah Montana merchandise, and this is a character that we created. So we make hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars off of this here character that we created. And you don't get any of these things. Well, what she did was she was like, all right, well, look, I'm about to, because I am the image and the likeness of it, but I don't even own that. Me, who I am in my own body. Well, what she wound up doing was, doing all that Tatiana stuff to tarnish that, to get that Disney to separate themselves from her. But hey, they owned all of these things. So how much more Jake, man? All their ideas and everything else like that. You go to a job, you implement, because I've even been in this spot, man. Go to a job, they have like little incentive programs where if you come up with a good idea, or, let's say you in manufacturing or something, or you create like some type of new thing inside the job, whether it be a new tool or a new way of doing certain things or a new product inside the company, and they'll try to give you a little small bonus. Oh, we'll give you, $500 for this little bonus. Y'all come up, with this little ideas or whatever. We'll give you $500 for it. But then they'll go and patent that and make hundreds of millions of dollars up off of that. You don't get none of the benefits, man. All right. So, hey, this is how it is, man. And our people, they fall for this all the time. But you see, going into that music industry and everything else like that, and acting and all these different things, man. All right. They don't own a likeness, even with, like you could think of like the Marvel, characters and things like that. You see like Robert Downey Jr. They even make the little dolls and the action figures that have these people likenesses and things like that, but they don't own any of those things, man. All right. And just dealing with Jake, Jake is getting an even lower end of this here stick, man. With the sports and what you call like football, what's that, the NCAA or NC what's it, college football, basically. I can't think of the name of the damn game now, but they got the college football game, right? The college football games, college basketball games, man. Those kids, they don't get paid for any of those things, man. They put them on TV and televise them and everything else like that, like the actual game that they play. But then the video games that they put these people in, they wasn't getting paid off for that. To now, all of a sudden, they're getting a little bit of a deal off of these things, man. So look, you putting forth, the work to build a so-called house, and even in these scenarios like this music industry, man, you're building the building, you're putting the lights on and all these different things. You're the face of all this here stuff, that Esau is making this here money off of, but you don't, again, listen to a lot of these artists, man. Oh, I ain't make my first little money till 10 years in the game, 20 years in the game. How you got all this money? You over here, y'all was supposed to be making all this here money. Y'all, part of y'all little shtick was y'all was millionaires, billionaires, and making all this here money, but hey, the label owned all that stuff, man. They was pretty much glorified employees for these things, mascots for these companies, man. All right, but they don't own none of these things flat out, man. All right, and this goes all the way back. You can hear the same sentiment story from back in the days all the way up until now, man. All right, all these people putting in this here work, building up a house, building up a studio, building up a name for, these record labels that everybody else own, Warner, Universal, and so on and so forth, man. Hey, Jake is over here building up $100 million companies, $1 billion companies and things like that. And guess what? They making pennies on a dollar on these things, man. They want to being broke, man. How the hell are you over here creating a $100 billion company and you make less than $1 million a year? You know what I'm saying? You make way, way, way less than that, man. All right. But hey, this is a curse that's down upon Jake, man. Even on a lower level, man. You see Jake just going into these warehouses and things like that, man. Putting in all this here work, you the backbone of Amazon and everything else like that. Going into your favorite restaurants, your regular little diner spots, your Applebee's and stuff like that. Hey, man, they got white people at the face of this here company, but go look in the kitchen, man. All Issachar in the back of that bad boy, man. Making it everything go. But guess what? They don't allow them. Hey, y'all can't eat over here at the bar. Y'all can't eat up in here. Y'all gonna have to take y'all stuff to go. All right. This is how they be treating them and everything else like that, man. All right. So, hey, but this is the thing that, we build this here house or, we farm this here land and we don't get a piece of it, man. All right, we doing all this here work, but we don't own none of these things up in this here spot, man. And then they treat us bad about these things, man. Just like I said, hey, the Issachar out there trying to build up these big-ass houses in these neighborhoods, saying let a couple of them band together and try to put their money together and buy a house. No. We can't sell y'all a house over here. Oh, I'm good enough to build the house, but I'm not good enough to live out here in this neighborhood. I'm good enough to make this here money for the record label, but I ain't good enough to make my own money. I can't make my own likeness. I done created a new dance style. I created a new swag, new, how they say, lingo and everything else like that. But I don't own any of these things. I don't own my own likeness. I have my own little swag, how I was coming in, but I don't own any of that now. But hey, this is, the scenario where Jake is at right about now, man. All right. Let me go down to, let me keep reading. First, let me go up. Verse 30, it says, I'm going to read this in NLT. It says, you will be engaged to a woman, but another man will sleep with her. We went through that. You will build a house and someone else will live in it. All right. Look at these record label, these record labels is studios and things like that, is houses and stuff like that. All this money made up off of our back. Hey, hell, think about Marvel. The one movie that saved Marvel in itself in the very beginning was what? A movie of a so-called black man. All right, Wesley Snipes with Blade, man. All right, and hey, that's long gone and forgotten. So you wouldn't have any of these movies and none of this here stuff today if it wasn't for Blade saving that whole line. And even with what was it, Adidas? All right, I believe that was Adidas that Kanye was with recently. That same thing, man. They pretty much would have been out of business if it wasn't for them, man. All right, it says you will plant a vineyard, but you will not enjoy the fruits. Enjoy its fruits. Your ox will be butchered before your eyes, but you will not eat a single bite of your meat. All right. So, hey, the stuff that you so-called produced. All right. Hey, think again to these rappers and things. They done brought in $100 million before they can see $1. The heads of the label take a bit of it. The managers take a bit of it, and so on and so forth. And they making up all this here money and everything else like that. But at the end of the day, they finally get down to you, man. You hear a lot of these artists like TLC. If you're old enough to know who TLC is, back at one of the awards in the mid '90s, they was up on stage saying, I believe they had that song "No Scrubs" and everything else like that. They was like selling like massive amount of records, man. And people thought, damn, they rich, they this and they're like, yeah, how is it that we got the #1 song right now? Don't go chasing waterfalls and all that extra stuff, but we broke. And they was breaking it down to you after this and that, and we got this and that, paying out for all these different things. The label made all this money. We didn't make no money. We still over here doing these things. Mary J. Blige spoke about this, how, again, in early in the mid 90s when Mary J. Blige was dropping all them hits and everything else, if you old enough to know about those hits and things back in them days, she was like, look, I was on tour. Everybody knew who I was, but I was going back home to the projects, man. I was going back home to the hood and everything else like that, man. All right. So, hey, and even though that she was at the time signed to Jake, the Puffy, who was Puffy signed to, man? All right. They was actually the ones making all this here money up off of these things. You can say, oh, well, they got to pay for the promotion and everything else like that. Hey, man, well, they own all these things. But even at that, there's still that money to go around, man. All right. You think that these people have money and everything else like that. Look at the people who own the Lucian Granges. And see, you don't even know these people names like that, man. Lucian Grange and everybody else like that. Leor Cohen and things like that, man. You might know about him because Dame Dash be going in on him. But look up Lucian Grange, man. And see, you think these rappers got money, all right, and what their net worth is like, think about the person. If he got $100 million, think about the person that's got to write that $100 million check. If I can write you a $100 million check and then I'm still good going out balling and I ain't crying about that, then, hey, think about how much money that person got, all right? But it says your donkey will be taken from you, never to be returned. Your sheep and your goats will be given to your enemies and no one will be there to help you. So, hey, all your rights, not to say your rights, but your rights to like your music, your name and all these different things. And, let's say you're a basketball star, the likeness of your image. All right, hey, man, it's my skill and everything else like that that's got me out here playing this here game of basketball. The things that I do, my style, my swag and everything else I got with it. But guess what? Y'all done put this into a video game. All right, y'all put my likeness into there. And I don't own it, and I don't get none of the benefits of those things. Y'all done recreated me inside this game so y'all can make money off of this damn video game, man. Y'all done put me into all these things, and y'all make all this money off of this, and I don't make any of the money off of this. After I'm retired out the NBA or something else like that, or get injured or something like that, man, I'm over here broke, man. And then y'all still reaping the benefits from me in this old ass video game that was from years back and everything else like that, man. All right, so hey, man, your work. Your how you say your workhorse or the things that you put for, again, whether it's your basketball skill or your rapping skill and everything else like that, all that is being owned by somebody else, man. You don't own the rights to any of those things, man. All right, let me go down to well, let me read verse 33 in the NLT again. A foreign nation you have never heard about will eat the crops you work so hard to grow. All right. You will suffer under constant oppression and harsh treatments. So think about that. Like I was just going into with these record labels and everything else like that. Out of all this, the biggest person who make the most money off of rap, they say the highest paid rapper and everything else like that. But like, look, the person who's really making the most money off of this rap or any of these rap CDs you could think about, a Lil Baby or, the Migos and all them, even though that they like signed to so-called Jakes. Them Jakes is signed to Esau at the end of the day, man. They have them, they subsidiaries and everything else like that, man. They have they get this here money off of that. Even, speaking, I just spoke on the Migos, the dude who got shot the other day and got killed. You know what I'm saying? They had it on TMZ and E News or something like that. Hey man, Esau getting paid off our pain and our suffering. You can't even die without them taking that imagery, you know what I'm saying, and putting it up online and you getting clicks up off of that, man. So you see, it says a foreign nation you have never heard about will eat the crops that you work so hard to grow. All right, because if this was just a normal nigga that don't nobody know that wound up getting shot, they wouldn't even post that. But because this is somebody famous and your name and your likeness is even on like that, hey man, they make money off of that too. But again, let you be put into a video game, let you be put onto just on television alone, an album or something like that, man. They own your likeness and they own all these different things that go along with it, man. All right, so hey, and it's not you that own these things and you that get paid off for these things. They get paid off for these things, man. You create a little dance move or something else like that, man. They're gonna find a way to monetize all those things, man. So you don't get any of the money up off of these things, man. All right. Let me jump down a little bit. Let me read this. Matter of fact, I could probably read this all the way through. Let me just read this down. Now going in let me verse 37. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations, whether the Lord shall send thee, in which we know how that is. They call us all kind of different names and everything else like that. Reading this in the NLT, verse 38. You will plant much, but harvest little, for locusts will eat your crops. And you will plant vineyards and care for them, but you will not drink the wine or eat the grapes, for the worms will destroy the vines. And again, in a literal sense, but then also, hey, like I said, let's say these rappers and things like that, man, that's got to sit there and perfect their craft, man. Perfect their little rap flow, sit in the studio and write these songs all damn day long, man. Or you a basketball player, sit there and work on your jump shot over and over and over and over and over again, man. But guess who actually is reaping the majority of the benefits of those things up off of your work, your hard work, your name, your imagery, and all these different things, man. Esau is the one that's reaping all the benefits of these things, man, not you. All right, you might get 5 to 10% of this, but they reaping 95% of this, man. All right. It says you will grow olive trees throughout your land, but you will never use the olive oil, for the fruit will drop before it ripens. Hey, think about it. Like with the boy from Amigos that just got killed. Hey, a lot of these artists and things like that, they get their biggest payday the moment and the day that they die. All right, what your boy name was Nipsey Hussle. All right, he wasn't that big. He was a so-called local artist, before he died and everything else like that, just barely breaking out onto the scene. But guess what? He went to a nationally known artist on the day that he died, man. People really started picking up and streaming his music at that point in time, man. So, hey, it says you will grow olive trees. You growing your talent throughout your land, but you will never use the olive oil. You're not going to reap from that, right? For the fruit will drop before it ripens. Hey, you going to wind up, you done. Before you can reap the benefits of what you've actually cultivated, all right, it's already done and out with, man. All right. Let me jump to verse 42. It says, swarms of insects will destroy your trees and your crops. The foreigner living among you will become stronger and stronger while you become weaker and weaker. And again, they are the ones that's pretty much reaping all the benefits of our labors, man. All right. Verse 44, he shall lend to thee and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head and thou shalt be the tail. And again, that's self-explanatory, man. We go to the banks to go get money from them. They don't come to get no money from us, just to promote our, hey, I need y'all to give me a little, a front basically on my business so I can get my business, my idea up off the ground. Then they give us the money and then, we make enough money to pay back the loan and be self-sufficient. But then guess what? They come back and buy us out or like again with the Kanye situation, man. He's partnered with some people to make his little shoes and everything else like that. But what did they wind up doing? They wind up basically copying his whole designs and started selling them up under their brand name, man. So and now they done severed ties with him. And guess what? They're like, well, we know what's hot, what the people like. We're gonna just keep producing them and take his name up off of him. And we'll keep making the money, man. All right. And guess what? If you try to go create you another company and put these designs out, we're gonna sue you for copyright infringement, even though it was his design to begin with, man. All right. So hey, this is the scenario that we're up under right about now. This is where we at. All right. Verse 45. I think we already read this, but well, let's read through this real quick. It says, moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee and shall pursue thee and overtake thee till thou beest destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of Yahweh thy power to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee. and they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder for thy seed forever. And that's, how we know who we are, man. Because these are the things, like I said, no matter who we are, man, we can't escape these things, man. And it's our backs that these people are eating off of, man. Jake ain't getting rich off of what these Edomites is over here doing. Esau ain't over here even on, I was gonna say, even with these TikTok, they ain't creating these TikTok dances, but even with the little TikTok dances and things like that, man. There was a documentary going out about, or in a big cry about, Jake was the ones that was creating all these little TikTok dances and things like that, and it would be in a small little corner of YouTube. But you would have these Edomite influencers that will copy their same exact dance and everything else like that and get big and monetize and make the money up off of these things, man. All right, but this is what's going on. All right, from the highest to the lowest. It says, because thou servest not Yahweh thy power with joyfulness and with gladness of heart and the abundance of all things, therefore shalt thou serve thy enemies, which Yahweh shall send thee in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he has destroyed thee. So, hey, we have to go to them for the one of all things, man. We have to go to them, whenever we, how do I put it? Whenever we want to so-called advance, all right, whenever we want to try to, put things together to try to get us up out of our own hole, man, we got to go to them and ask them for these things, man. All right. Wanted to grab something else, but matter of fact, let me just go ahead and go to this and hang on, let me go back. I was looking for something in particular. Let me read this real quick. I've already read this, but let me read verse 34. All right, let me read verse 33. It says, the fruit of thy land and all thy labor shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up, and thou shalt only be oppressed and crushed always, so that thou shalt be mad for the sight of thy eyes, which thou shalt see. And again, going back to these record labels and things like that, or any of these scenarios, man, when Jake finally wake up and realize, listen to a lot of these rappers and things like that, they'll tell you about how the fact that they, like, one day we just woke up, we read our contract, and it was like, how come we done made all this here money and everything else like that? How come we doing all this? But then all of a sudden, we ain't got no money. We done made all this here money for go on YouTube and find out about the record labels exposed and these rappers and everything else like that. You'll hear the cry of these people, man. And like I said, it's not just the rap industry that these things go to, man. Hey, let you be a famous boxer. Hey, they making all this here money. Mike Tyson, man. They making a documentary about him, and he wasn't even with the business, man. But it was his punches, his skill, his training, sweat, blood, and tears that made that imagery so popular that they can sit there and sell that story about, man. Muhammad Ali and everything else like that, man. All right, all these different people that put in this here work, Michael Jordan and everything else like that. Michael Jordan, they be like, oh, well, he make $100 million a year. Yeah, but look, the company itself is making billions of dollars a year, $1 or $2 billion a year. He make $100 million out of that. Like, bro, they paying him pennies comparably to the dollars that he should be making, man. Yeah, of course, it's a big number, but hey, man, if it's your imagery, your shoes and everything with your name on there, shouldn't you be getting a bigger paycheck than them? All right, but yet still, hey, man, he the one who made the shoes hot. Because if that was the case, Nike could have made their own shoes, came up with their own names. It wouldn't have been. They got plenty of other shoes that they got, and they ain't selling nowhere near like them Jordans is selling, man. All right, it was because of the way Jordan was playing on the basketball court and his skill, his dedication, his training and everything that he put forth, his sacrifice that he made. All right, that, ultimately it's the Most High that gave him all of that. But what I'm saying, as far as Nike didn't do all that on the court to make people want to be like, oh shit, I want to be like him. You know what I'm saying? I want to be like Mike. But hey, this is how our people, they wound up waking up to these things, man, and that sorrow hit them. All right, we'll close out with this over here. Haggai 1:5. Now, therefore, thus saith Yahweh of hosts, consider thy ways. Let me read this in the NLT. It says, this is what the Lord of heaven's army say. Look at what's happening to you. All right. Think about these things, man. Consider these things, man. All right. Consider these things as what's going on, man. Think about how our people are putting in all this here work to become so-called legendary and all this here status. But guess what? They don't own any of these things, man. All right. You have a lot of these here artists. It's like, yo, I'm trying to buy back my catalog, trying to buy back my masters. All these people who you think of as so-called famous and they made all these songs. They should be, hey, mostly all these rappers go broke. And you wonder why, like T-Pain and all them, like, bro, all them songs that you were singing, you know what I'm saying, and everything else like that. But then come to find out, he don't own none of them songs. He don't own none of his likeness and the auto-tune and all those things that he done made popular and things like that, man. Hey, Jake the one to put, the salt of the earth, put that seasoning on things, and then people start liking it, and then guess what? They don't even own none of the shit no more, man. All right, what was that? I forgot what it was. One of those whiskeys or something like that. Where it might have been Jack Daniels, man. Where it was like a slave came up with that. But guess what? Esau is the one reaping all the benefits from those things, man. Then they try to bring out, there was controversy over those things, and I believe that the family decided that basically they was gonna come out with basically the same thing under a different name. But hey, ain't nobody checking for that brand, man. Even though it's the originator who came out with the original shit, man, they're not checking for that brand. They want to go with the brand that they know, and it's who's going into that pocket, man. Esau, right? So Haggai 1:5. This is what the Lord of Heaven's armies say. Look at what's happening unto you. You have planted much, but harvest little. You eat but are not satisfied. You drink but are still thirsty. You put on clothes but cannot keep warm. Your wages disappear as though you're putting them into pockets filled with holes. So no matter how much Jake is in so-called investing into these things, all right, they're the ones lose out on these things, man. Man, I'm a rapper. I put in all this here time and effort, all these back-to-back albums, hitting hit after hit after hit after hit, and it end all be all, I'm over here broke, man. I've been playing basketball and raised up all my stats to go in the Hall of Fame for them just to take all this here likeness away from me. You know what I'm saying? And now I can't play no more. They didn't kick me out the league. But guess what? They're going to make a video game and have me on the damn video game. They going to make money off of that. I ain't going to make money off of any of these things, man. They're going to continue to, go down as a legendary, so on and so forth. Hey, even like you see like some of these wrestling games come out and you have some of these old quote unquote legends that wrestled back in the day and everything else like that. But they families don't. Oh, Vince McMahon owned the likeness of these characters and everything else like that, so they can continue to keep creating them and putting them into these video games. But your family ain't getting paid off of that shit, man. Wondering why they all broke and everything else like that, man. But these are the curses that's upon our people, man. All right, they always find a way to write us up out of our own likeness and things like that. And look at what's going on with the the Ye and the Kyrie type scenario, man. They didn't stole our identity, and yet they making money off of it. They didn't told that man that what he was watching was all this and that. But guess what? It's our history. Amazon is reaping the benefits and the money from everybody renting and watching this damn movie, but yet and still that you can't even talk about it, man. All right, and it's about our people. They making money off of these things, and then they telling you it's illegal for you to sit there and watch, man. But yet they still make money up off of these things, man. Making money off, like I said, that boy that got killed, the Migo boy that got killed, right? They over there showing his death on TMZ and everything else like that, making money up off of us. And man, if it was one of their peoples like that, man, they wouldn't allow that to be shown on TV like that, man. But hey, these are the curses that identify who we are, man. All right, but I'm going to go ahead and close out with that. Lord willing, the elect was edified with this here lesson. Until next time, I say, call halal, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of great millstone that taught us this truth and ever will. And salutation and much love for you, I can pushing this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Until next time, I say, stay strong, Shalom.